Having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Say your name in the chat. Shout out what city you're from. Let me know what city you're from. And today we're going to talk a little bit about a guy that I really admire. His name is Dr. Cornel West. And it turns out that Dr. West just made an amazing announcement. He says that he's running for president. And this is a big deal. I think that Dr. West is a guy who would make an extraordinary president. Now whether or not he's exactly a fit for what America is accustomed to in the White House, I don't know. He's a little bit darker than most of the other presidents. He's a little bit blacker in terms of his commitment to Black people. He's also a little bit more to the left than a typical Democrat. So, is Dr. West going to actually win? I think that might be a stretch. However, I don't think Dr. West even thinks he's going to become president per se, but I do think that he's making a statement. Now, as we come in, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Make sure also that you follow this podcast on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and look up Boyce Watkins or the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, you will find me on Spotify. So let me hop in here, make sure you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Jai, I see you. Christina Littles, Marie Watson from Chicago. Al says he got my vote B1 for life. Eslas, good to see you. Let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? Pamela, how are you? All right. So, all right. Thank you very much, JD Monk and Tamara Blue and Loud Minds TV. Good to see you. All right. So, yeah. So here's the thing. So by the way, I'm going to shout out a friend of mine who runs the Urban Youth Racing School. Her name's Michelle. She runs this racing school out of Philadelphia, where they're literally training Black kids how to become race car drivers and how to do STEM and STEAM and everything else. And I just really wanted to shout out what they're doing, just because it's my platform. I can do whatever I want. And I really think that we should also look into getting our kids into things that are non-traditional. And that was just a quick little thought I wanted to share with you all. So shout out to the Urban Youth Racing School and what they're doing with Black kids. But anyway, so as we were before, Dr. Cornel West has announced that he's running for president. I put his announcement video on my website or my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. And I was curious. I want to ask you guys this, and then I'm going to share some poll results in a second. Give me a yes or no. If Cornel West were running for president, would he get your vote? Yes or no? Would you vote for Cornel West as president of these United States? What would you what would you, yes or no? What would you do? If Cornel were running for president, would you say, Lord, yeah, let me run to the polls, or oh hell no, I'm not voting for anybody, especially not him? What would you do? Like yes or no? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Would you vote for? Okay, I see. Hell yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. It's direct. From Al. Okay, Samitra says no. Okay, all right, interesting. And I'm not here to judge you. Just so you know, we don't voter shame here. I believe Black people should do whatever they want. I believe you have the right to be free. And anybody who tells you that you have to do something at the polls, that you have to vote for Biden, or you have to vote for Trump, or you have to vote for anybody, I don't believe that person's your friend. I just don't. I don't believe that they care about you. I don't believe they want what's best for you. I believe that they want you to show up so they can use you and manipulate you and get something from you. And I'm not a fan of any of that. Okay, so let's see. Esla says, I don't, Isaiah says, I don't know who he is. Great. I like that. That's an honest answer. So let's talk about who is Dr. Cornel West and why am I even talking about him? Why would I be bringing his face and name on this platform? Well, let's talk about this for a moment. Dr. Cornel West is considered to be one of the preeminent scholars of our time. He's highly respected all around the world. He is a truly intelligent guy. He wrote a great book that everybody should read called Race Matters. And he wrote that book years ago, probably 25 years ago. And I read that book and I liked it. It was very, very good. Everybody should buy a copy. Cornel West also has been heavily involved with politics. He actually was responsible. A lot of y'all don't know this, but Cornel was highly instrumental. When I say highly instrumental, I mean highly instrumental. I'm talking about like trumpet level, highly instrumental in getting Barack Obama into the White House. I don't know if y'all know that, but Cornel West literally got Barack Obama, helped get Barack Obama elected. And in case you don't remember this, he and Obama kind of got into it because he felt that Barack Obama did not keep his promises. He felt that Barack Obama used him. That's the sense that I got. And I got this directly from Cornell. Cornell also happens to be a guy that I'm proud to consider to be my friend. I've talked to him on many occasions for long periods of time, and I learned from him, and I respect him immensely, and I love talking to him, and he's just a decent human being. If Cornel West called me tomorrow and asked me to do anything, I would do it because I just like this guy. His mother, she rest her soul. I believe she passed. I met his mother. His mother came to one of my speeches. She was extremely nice, and he just comes from a good family, good stock. Straight out of Tulsa, if I'm not mistaken. That's the home of Black Wall Street. So there's a marvelous history there. So I encourage any young person, listen, if you don't know about Cornel West, look him up, look him up, look him up. Now, with that said, let me share something with you all. I asked you all on drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Now, remember, you guys are a niche on top of a niche on top of a niche. We are not mainstream Black people. We're not all trying to fit in and stuff like that. You all are trying to build. You're trying to build wealth for your families. You believe in education. You're breaking generational curses. So you're not average Negroes. You are extraordinary people. And so this is a kind of a slightly more intelligent group of people. I will just go ahead and say that. And so out of you all, out of the tribe of intelligent Black people, when I asked you all this question, let me see if I can pull this up on my screen here. I asked you all, would you vote for Cornel West in the election right now? And I just made a simple yes or no, up or down vote. That's what they call it in Congress, up or down vote. And 57% of you said no. So far, 43% of you said yes. That's interesting. I think that's very interesting. Now, why is that interesting to me? Well, the reason that that's interesting is because it really speaks to the diversity in the Black community. It speaks to the fact that there are Black people who are not just going to vote for somebody just because they're Black, and I think that that makes sense. I think that that shows a type of nuance that people don't respect and appreciate. Like, for example, does anybody remember when Joe Biden said, "If you don't vote for me, then you ain't Black"? Anybody remember that? And remember how offended people got when he said that? And rightfully so. I believe you should have been offended when he said that. And the reason you were offended, as you should have been, is because he's basically doing a plantation move on you. He's acting like Yazza Mazza on you. He's basically acting like he's the overseer and the boss of the Black community. He's literally talking as if he's bought and sold all the Negroes in America. And that language should offend you. It should offend you just as much as if Donald Trump has said it. I know some of y'all are trained to only get offended when Donald Trump says something racist, as if Joe Biden can't do the same thing. And I encourage you to sort of think outside that box. Think outside of this Burger King, McDonald's kind of politics we have in America, where you either, if you don't go to Burger King, you have to go to McDonald's. If you're not a Democrat, then you must be a Republican. Pay attention now. Isn't it interesting that in every election, I've never voted for a Republican in my life. I've never voted for a Republican in my life, and in every election, I don't vote for a Republican. I never have anybody tell me that I should have done something different. I never have. I rarely. I can't think of a single time where I've ever been chastised for not voting for a Republican. However, also in the last 25 years, I've not voted for a Democrat. And every time I don't vote for a Democrat and I say I don't want to vote for a Democrat, I literally have people say, well, if you don't vote for the Democrats, then that's like voting for the Republican. If you don't vote for the Democrat, then you must be voting for the Republicans. And I say, but I didn't vote for a Republican. Yeah, but you're putting Trump in office if you don't vote for the Democrats. And I'm sitting there looking at them like, Negro, who told you that you have the right to suppress my vote by forcing me to vote for who you tell me to vote for? I thought I lived in a country where I have access to this thing called freedom. Freedom means you don't get to tell me what to do. And so one of the things you have to understand is that when you talk about suppression, we always talk. Anybody ever hear them talk about voter suppression and stuff like that, and just how bad voter suppression is? Well, one of the things you have to understand is that voter suppression isn't just people keeping you away from the polls. Voter suppression is not just when they tell you you can't vote. Voter suppression is also when they tell you you can vote, but you have to vote for this person. And if you don't vote for this person, we're going to attack you. We're going to shame you. We're going to humiliate you. And we're going to make you feel like you're hurting people by making the choice that's best for you. I am against voter suppression of all forms. That means that I support you doing whatever it is you want to do for your family. Give me a yes if that's okay. Give me a yes if you can agree with me. If you don't agree with me that black people should do what they want to do, that black people should have freedom, then I don't know what kind of conversation we can have, because you're kind of talking, you're sounding a little bit like a white supremacist to me. So let me tell you like this. I like Cornel West so much as a human being. I judge people based on character in terms of what they just are as a person. And and I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't agree with Cornell on every political issue. Cornell is a Marxist. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a capitalist, but I'm not a Marxist. There are good ideas in Marxism. If you read Karl Marx's critique of capitalism, he's right on point. The where I think they fall short is I don't think they present a model that is better than capitalism. I think that Marxism has had too much of an influence on the black liberation struggle, to the point where you've been trapped into believing that the only way you can support black liberation is by being a leftist. I think that's not true. I think that in black liberation, you also need your conservatives. You also need your business owners. You also need the people that will fight for gun rights. You also need people that believe in traditional family. You also need those people that are going to develop infrastructure to develop a community and develop a nation. Yeah, a bunch of leftists can't really build and can't nation build the same way a diverse community can. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that there are good ideas on the left and the right. So ultimately, we're not the same in that regard. I'm not a leftist like him. I think he was talking about, for example, he mentioned the right for a woman to have control over her body, and I agree with that. I think women should have control over their bodies. At the same time, I think fathers have rights too. I don't think there's anything wrong with me saying that if you're going to abort my baby, I should have some say in that process. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that if you're going to do a gender reassignment surgery on my child, I should have the right to know what's going on. I don't have any problem with people saying, hey, if you're going to take my child down to the Planned Parenthood and get that procedure done, I need to know. You need to inform me, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think I'm offending anybody by saying that, right? And so ultimately, what you got to be real careful about in politics is you got to be careful about various forms of authoritarianism. On the right, a lot of authoritarianism might come through the criminal justice system or through the crushing, devastating blows of capitalism. Capitalism can be a beast. Capitalism can be just evil. Capitalism can be nasty. The police state can be very nasty and abusive, as has been to black people. On the left, the authoritarianism comes in with people that will attack you and shame you and try to suppress your right to free speech because they don't believe that what you're saying has merit. Like there was a young lady who was going out speaking on behalf of female swimmers and basically saying it's not fair to let men compete with the women, right? Even if they claim to be women, she was saying, look, it's not fair. We can't compete with a dude. We can't compete with somebody. I don't know. Give me a guess if any of this is making sense to you. She was just basically making the simple argument that I agree with, that it's hard for a girl to compete with a dude when it comes to like a physical sport. Right. And when she was out speaking on this, I kid you not, she went to different campuses and they were attacking her. They were spitting on her. They were throwing objects at her. They were assaulting this poor lady because she was simply speaking her mind, and I think that's wrong. I think that's 100. I think that's so wrong to do that, and so I really think there's black people. I really think the intelligent people in the room. This is for the smart people. Everybody ain't gonna get this. This is only going to appeal to maybe 20% of the community, right? Because studies show that 80% of all people can't defy the order of an authority, even if it's wrong. Studies show that about 70 to 80% of all people are going to follow the crowd, even if they know that the crowd is wrong. Studies show that 70 to 80% of all people are incapable of truly thinking for themselves. That's just a fact. So I'm not really talking to the 70% of the black community. So if you have 40 million people, take out 28 million of those people. 28 million people are not going to get this. So what I'm appealing to is that last 12 million people who understand that I can have my opinion and you can have yours, and one does not necessarily have to disrupt the other. Give me a yes if we can agree on that. That I can sit here and I can talk to you, Joe Hunter and Pamela Woodson and Michelle Martin and M. Brown and Isaias Sharks and everybody else. That I can talk to you, that I can have an opinion that's different from yours, and I can say, thank you for sharing your perspective. I learned from that. And then you can say the same thing to me, and we can walk away as friends. We can walk away saying, We disagree on this and this and this, but we agree on this and this and this and this and this and this and this. Let's rally around the areas where we agree. Let's rally around the areas where we connect. Let's rally around the areas where we can build together, as opposed to doing what these white folks teach you to do. Not all white folks, just the dumb ones. They teach you to fight each other, scrap each other, become crabs in the barrel, beat each other's butts, tear each other down because I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican, and how dare you vote for Trump, or how dare you vote for Biden? I mean, I just think that's the craziest thing in the world. I'm not a fan of any of that. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to vote for Cornel West if he runs. If Cornel makes it all the way to the general election or primaries and all that, I'm going to vote for Cornel because I just think Cornel's a good dude. I like good people. I like good human beings. Cornel is ethical. Cornel is honest. Cornel, I've seen Cornel West. It went out. Let me tell you part of my Cornel West story. Back in 2013, Cornel joined me for an event that we had. We had an event where I did a little tour. And in every major, I did about 5 cities. In every major city, I got together with somebody that had a great voice that I respected, and we sort of partnered. And in Brooklyn at Medgar Evers College, Cornell joined me for something I call the New Paradigm for Black America. It's called Wealth, Education, Family, and Community: A New Paradigm for Black America. I have a book with that same title. You can go look it up on Amazon. It's a very short book, very short, but it's very clear on a vision for the year 2070 that I have for the Black community in terms of what we can do, in terms of leading the world, in terms of wealth, education, rebuilding our families, and rebuilding our communities. So Cornell joined us that day. And I watched Cornell. I watched him very closely. We were together for 5 hours, and I saw how we'd walk down the street, and people would walk up to him and say, "Oh gosh, Dr. West, I love your work." White people, black people, people of all backgrounds, and he talked. I mean, he greeted each person like they were a relative. When he first met me, when I walked in this restaurant, I'm not making this up. I walked in a restaurant in Manhattan, and he's in this restaurant, and it's kind of in a quiet corner because he didn't want to get too much attention. He gets up. I kid you not. He walks over to me. He gets on one knee, like gets down and bows to me. Literally bows to me, like grabs my hand and bows to me. And I'm sitting here like, whoa, Cornel West is bowing to me. This is odd, because I remember going with my wife Alicia. I remember us when she was at the University of Chicago. I remember us going to see Cornel speak in 1999, and that was before he knew me. Anybody knew me at that time. So 20 years later, we 15 years later, whatever it was, we're in New York, and he's literally bowing to me in the middle of this restaurant in front of all these people, and people are like, why is this guy bowing to this other guy? And they're like, wait a minute, that's Cornel West. And then I kid you not, I'm paying. Listen to this. This is me just being honest here. So we sat down, and he then starts to recite to me my family history. He talks about my mother, and he says, "Oh yeah, you're the son of Robin and Larry Watkins. Your father was a police officer. Your mother was a social worker." And he talks about, and I said, "Yeah, my parents are more Southern Baptist, conservative, hardworking types." He says, "Yes, people like that have lots of conviction, and that conviction can lead to success." And he said things like that. And we spent the whole day talking. And I remember thinking to myself that, unless this guy is just a hell of an actor, um, he came off as one of the most decent people I've ever met. So I'm gonna just say it this way, and maybe take it for what you want. This is me. I don't even know if this is an endorsement, but it probably is, because I'm literally saying to you, you guys have heard me say a million times what I'm not doing in no election. I'm not letting anybody force me to do anything. But if Cornel West, any opportunity I get to support him, I will do it. I will do it because I know this man. I know his family. I have watched him for many years, and I do know he cares about black people. I also know he cares about poor people, right? And that's what I rally around, right? The other areas, I admit, I'm not so far on the left like him, right? But I think that he is a good person, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think he'll ever be president. To be honest with you, I can't see. I remember the presidency is kind of built on this system. It's like it's this empire, right? This machine that runs on its own, and they do terrible things. They go around, they bomb Africa and kill people with the CIA and do all these horrible things. And I think Barack Obama was the kind of guy that just kind of could get in where he fits in. I think Barack Obama is a great man, but I don't know if Barack Obama was always a good man, because sometimes being a great man does not afford you the luxury of always being a good man, where every decision can be black and white, every decision can be good or bad. Right? Like they say, well, it's wrong to kill people. Well, what if you have to kill 1,000 people to save a million? Right? So those are hard decisions. And so Barack Obama, in my view, was a great man, but I don't feel like Barack Obama was always a good man. Right? But that's what's required to become president, which is why I don't see Cornel getting into the White House. But what I do see is Cornel doing what I believe Cornel can do, which is rallying the influence that he has around the world and utilizing that to enhance the ability of certain people to have a stronger voice in American politics. Running, a lot of people run for president just to sort of galvanize a certain type of energy. I think Cornel will probably be a threat to the Democratic Party. He was a threat when Obama ran, and Obama just broke every promise he made, and Cornel challenged him on that. That was a problem. Barack Obama was livid that Cornel West didn't just sit down and shut up. And he obviously, I think, did not understand how this man is built. This is a man that is not going to walk around and just be driven by money and greed and power like everybody else. This is a man who literally, did anybody ever notice? Here's an example. Anybody ever notice how Cornell always wears the same suit all the time? Anybody ever notice that? And would you think that a man who's taught at Harvard University, who's probably made millions of dollars, who probably, who books speeches at $25,000, $30,000 a pop, you think he could afford another suit? Or do you think he wears that suit to make a point? He wears the same suit and he wears the same shoes as his commitment to poverty, to remember those who are really struggling. This man, if you talk about a voice for the voiceless, Cornell is that guy, and I respect him immensely for that. So even when I disagree with him, I give him all the props and respect. I hope he, is able to make the noise that he's trying to make. I love the fact that he's willing to make this sacrifice and jump in there and do what he's doing. And I just, again, y'all ain't never gonna see me announcing I'm running for nothing. I'm not trying to be part of no machine, no political nothing. But what I can do is come in here and give you my honest assessment of what I think about this guy. Now, by the way, everybody, do me a favor. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Reminders, this podcast is on Spotify. If you look up Boyce Watkins, you can find it there. Also, I have a new book out. It's an Amazon bestseller. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You're going to love it. The reviews are very good. Read the reviews before you buy it. And if you like the reviews, I hope you'll consider taking a look at the book, maybe getting some copies for your family, maybe having your kids read it this summer as a project. I guarantee it'll change their life. It'll put them on a different economic path that will last for the next 50 years of their lives. So feel free to take a look at that. Also, I want to thank one of our sponsors for this podcast, Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. Dr. Q is an established dentist, a respected dentist in St. Louis, who has created a suite of dental products for Black people. And also, in addition to that, you can make money with Dr. Q. So if you go to Dr. Q's website, drqsfreshbreathclub.com, you can actually sell his products to your friends and family. Anybody who brushes their teeth, which hopefully that's everybody, and you get 20% of what you sell. So it's a great business model if that's something that you want to that you want to do. All right. So anyway, let's hop back into this. All right. So we're talking about Cornel West running for office. And I thought it was really interesting when I did the poll of intelligent Black people and found that most of you, a little bit more than 50% of you, said you would not vote for Cornel West. I was very surprised by that, but it's okay. We're into free expression and free speech over here, so it's not as if I'm going to get mad at you for your opinion. By the way, I want to show you all a picture here, and this is an old picture I found. Can y'all identify the Black guy? This is when I first joined the faculty at Syracuse University. And so, as you can imagine, I'm the Black guy. At that time, Syracuse did not have any Black professors anywhere in the department, or in finance or in any other field. They had zero. They had like 90 faculty. Not one of them were Black. So it's kind of like I felt like I was part of the Little Rock Nine, And this is another picture of me. These are all my colleagues. I remember all of them. This lady here actually happens to be Black. She doesn't look Black, but she's Black. I think her dad's white or something like that. And these are people. This guy's from, I think, India. This person's from Ukraine, I believe, or something. And I don't know these two people very well. But anyway, I found this old picture, and that's me at the age of 31, right after I joined, or 30. I think I was only 30. I just turned 30. And believe it or not, I was 30 when I got my first job. That's crazy, kind of pathetic, but it takes a long time to get a PhD. And that's me joining the faculty. So in case you want to ever see a blast from the past, that's me. And back at that time, A year before that, around a year before that, I knew my wife at that time, and we went to go see Cornel West speak at the University of Chicago. And I remember just being in awe when I met him. And I remember looking at him and Michael Eric Dyson and Julianne Malveaux and saying, "Gosh, I think I want to do something similar to what they're doing." The only thing I changed with my business model versus their business model was I knew that that basically there are ways that society shuts down radical black men that they perceive to be radical, black men they perceive to be sort of big mouths, people that they think are upsetting the status quo. So I told my brother, I said, as soon as I tell them the truth about what they're doing to black people and speaking honestly, a couple things are going to happen. I'm going to offend most white people. I'm going to scare them, and I'm also going to offend a lot of black people because a lot of black people, unfortunately, are stuck in a certain way of thinking. So I said the best way for us to protect ourselves economically is we have to own everything that we do. So instead of getting booked through a speakers bureaus, we created a speakers bureau. It's called Great Black Speakers. It's still in existence. Instead of getting our books published through a publisher and trying to get a book deal, we went and created a publishing company. And also in terms of media, I realized that mainstream media isn't a great way for me to get a message out like this. We had to go build media. We had to dig the trenches and literally one subscriber at a time, just build black-owned media. So here we are years later, and we're able to reach 1 million people a month. We're able to, my book is an Amazon bestseller. I've given probably hundreds of speeches all over the globe and whatever. So we're able to do these things in a way where we're insulated. And one of the things that's really important for you to understand is are the economics of self-defense. In fact, I think I did something. What was the URL? I want to say it was like economicselfdefense.com or something like that. And oh, actually, it's not a URL. So excuse me for saying that. But anyway, it might be on my website, boycewatkins.com. But one of the things you have to understand about money is that money is power, but money is a lot of things. Money is power. Money is freedom. Money can be problems. Money can also be used as a weapon and a shield. And so, effectively, money is used on a regular basis to control black people. Money is used not just to control black people, but really to control the world. Part of the reason that the BRICS countries are trying to get away from the US dollar being used for currency transactions is because they feel the United States uses its economic power to pursue its own agendas, right? And they do that to the black community on a regular basis. So it's really important for you to make plans now to prepare your children to be protected economically, so that if they come out here, they come out swinging. If you're teaching your kids some of these things that we're talking about on this platform, just understand the world ain't going to understand them the way you understand them. There are going to be people that are going to try to put them in a box and oppress them and all these other things. And having your own resources is a great first step to being able to tell people to kiss your butt, to be able to give the middle finger to whoever tries to control you. But you gotta prepare in advance, right? So if you go to boycewatkins.com, I have something that's free. It's called the $5 a day investing plan. Feel free to go take a look at that. That's something you can do if you have young children. You can start investing just little amounts of money for them on a regular basis. I tell you exactly what to buy. You buy things like VOO. VOO is a mutual fund that tracks the S&P 500. Victor Oscar Oscar. That's what it is. Look it up. Deposit $35 a week in that fund. Don't sell anything until your child that's 1 or 2, your grandchild that's just a baby. When your grandchild gets about 25 or 30, that's when you start using the money, putting the money into action, so they can be free. Because here's the thing that's interesting to me, and we're gonna get back to Cornel West in a minute. I know we started talking about Cornel, but I always like talking about you all. Is I found that it's fascinating to me that the difference between freedom and slavery for most black people is not a ton of money. It's not like it's millions of dollars. It's not like buying your freedom costs, $10 billion, right? Because that's what you're doing when you get enough money to get off the plantation, you're buying your freedom, just like your ancestors did in 1650. You got to do that now. And the thing is that I realized, I said, it's crazy to me that the difference between freedom and slavery for most black people is only about $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Seriously, think about this. For most black people, let me give me a yes or no. If you had free, if you easy, let's say you had income of $5,000 a month that you just got as a check every month from whether it's the government or from reparations or whatever, would you be able to quit your job if you had an extra 5 grand a month? Would you be able to walk away from the job that the 5 grand times 12, that's $60,000 a year. So it's not a ton of money. It's not gonna make you rich. But if you had $5,000 a month extra in income, would you be able to walk away from your job if you had to and still be okay? Still be able to get your bills paid? Like, are your bills more than $5,000 a month? And I asked that question because I want you to understand $5,000 a month really isn't, a ton of money, right? It's a lot, all right? Some of you, they may make less than that, and I'm not making fun of that at all, but I'm saying that, so really, if you talk about the one problem, I like to reduce complex problems into kind of like one-dimensional things, like the one thing you got to do. So if you reduce this complex world we live in and all the challenges that come with being black, if you reduce it down to one thing, this one thing would solve a lot of those problems. The one challenge, the one problem your child has to solve is, how do I get 5 grand a month that I can get without having to go and sell myself into corporate slavery? How do I get $5,000 a month? Right? That might mean a business. You have a product that's $50. You sell 100 units a month. That's your 5,000 right there. Right? Maybe you've got some investments, right? And you can, we talk a lot about selling stock options. You've got a capital base. You own some stock. Well, you sell options on that stock. You get your 5,000. Pay your bills. Next thing you know, you're home with your kids, watching Netflix, going to the park, going to the movies, having sex in the afternoon, do whatever you want to do without worrying about what's happening at on the factory floor, right? So I encourage you to just focus on that. If you solve that one problem for your kids, then your kids will probably have a good opportunity to be free. It's not true for everybody. Maybe 5,000 a month isn't a lot of money for some people, but I know for most people I run into, when I meet thousands of you all across this country, across the world, that number is your number that would get you out of off the plantation. So rather than all the nonsense that we learned in school, all the crap that we learned that we never use again, all the books that we read that we never even remember, I would say that that this would be the first thing that I want my kids to learn. How do you get that 5,000 a month so you can buy your freedom, and then you can get to the business of living life. You can get to the business of being happy. You can get to the business of not having to think about money anymore because all the bills are paid, right? That's financial freedom. A lot of people think that you have to be rich to be financially free. That is not true. You do not have to be rich to be financially free. Stop saying that. You don't have to have millions of dollars. You just have to have enough money to pay your bills so you don't have to think about money anymore. Then instead of thinking about money, you're thinking about going to the gym, or maybe thinking about going to the movies, or you're thinking about hanging out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You're thinking about traveling to Europe, right? Or Africa, or whatever it is you want to do, right? So that's my 2 cents. I know I went on a rant, but that's what I do. Y'all know how I am. All right. So anyway, if you could allow me really quick to give a thank you to another one of our sponsors. We have black-owned businesses that keep us going, and Aisha Verzi is a person that can help you if you have any needs as it pertains to insurance, investments, index universal life policies, things like that. She's a big supporter of the Black Business School, and this is a good sister. I've met her. I like her. Tell her Dr. Boyce sent you. Her phone number is right there. You can go do a free consultation. Just call that number. Reach out to Aisha. She will hook you up in terms of helping you get on track financially on a personalized level. I'll leave her number up on the screen so you can take a look. If you have a black-owned business and you want me to shout you out, you can go to drboycefinance.com. That URL is on the screen. Micah is the person that runs that platform. She can take care of you. Tell her that I sent you also. So, because if you tell people you're my friend, that hopefully that means they'll treat you nicer. And actually, let me leave Aisha's number up there again so you guys can get it. All right, 626-340-5746. That's 626-340-5746. I want to say that for those that are listening on Spotify. The last thing I'll say, so let me just sort of end with this conversation about Cornel West. I'm going to say this. I was surprised that Cornel is running for president. I'm happy that he's running for president. I would vote for him running for president. I think Cornel is like a kind of guy. Now is he necessarily the person who would fit into the government establishment? I don't know, because I think that he's idealistic. He has some really good ideas. I don't know if they will work in on Capitol Hill, but I do know that he's a good man, and so again, I know I tell you guys a lot of times that I'm not voting for a Democrat or a Republican, but actually I am going to vote for Cornel if I get an opportunity to, just because I just really like him as a human being, and that means a lot to me. That says a lot to me. I don't know how he feels about reparations, stuff like that. I'd be curious to hear his point of view. I know Barack Obama said something that at least according to Vicky Dillard. Vicky's on Fly Nubian Queen TV if you want to check her out. I heard Vicky Dillard claim that Barack Obama said that reparations, that Asians and Hispanics should not have to pay reparations to Black people. I hope he didn't say that. I'm going to go check out and see what Vicky has to say. If he said that, then I don't agree with that assessment. And the reason I don't agree with what Barack might say on this is because I think everybody who benefits from America owes Black people reparations. Everybody who benefits, everybody who came here to get a better life, everybody who came here and built a business, especially when they're building these businesses in Black communities, everybody who has ever benefited from the vast wealth created in America owes Black people reparations. Like, right? Like, you can't take on the benefits of being an American, but not take on the liabilities. Do you understand? Let me say that again. You cannot take on the benefits without also taking on the liabilities. That's like me marrying my wife and saying, I'm gonna take you on. I'll marry you, but I don't want nothing to do with your kids. Think about that. How crazy would that be if I told my wife, like, I'll hang out with you, but I don't want your kids. You got to leave your kids at home. I don't want no. I don't owe anything to these kids. Screw these kids. Well, would that be a good relationship? Would that make me a good man? No, it wouldn't. It would be crazy. I can't say that. When I chose to marry my wife, I knew I had to get along with the kids. And I had to decide, okay, is this something that I want to connect to? Well, guess what? Those are wonderful children. They're great. They actually help me with my business, believe it or not. They actually, I'm teaching them business now, and it's so much fun. They work with me and they help me ship my products and everything. So if you buy books from me or whatever, you go to my website and buy flashcards or anything like that, chances are one of the kids is shipping that to your house, and I think it's so much fun. I think Black children are a blessing. And I really just think overall, just on a side note on that, I don't understand why you got these men that get so angry about women that have children. I understand, I get it, but I think you might want to open your mind and really consider just how awesome it is to mentor a child in your community and what kind of contribution you're making to the community. Just like if I used to be a track coach, and I loved influencing those kids. If you're a football coach, basketball coach, shout out to you. Mentor, counselor, teacher, anybody in the community that's there for those kids who don't have the parents that might not be there for them. Not that my kids are in that category. Their father's a good guy. I know him, so I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about anybody who's there for those kids that don't have two parents the way they should. God bless you for that. Bless you. You are, in my view, nothing short of a complete angel for your behavior because the community needs you. I know everybody isn't built that way. Maybe some people think it's might want to call me a simp or something. They like to use that word for Black men that care about children and whatever, but I don't care. Then if that's what it is, then that's what I'm going to be. Because I love these kids and I want to see Black children do well and I want to see our community do well. And I know the children really are the future. So we're the past, we're the present and the past. We're going to get old, and the kids are going to take over. And I want to put them in a position where they can go into this battle against racism and white supremacy and win the damn war. I want to prepare these kids to be on top. I want Black children to be the smartest. I want them to be the hardest working. I want them to be the most economically intelligent. I talk to you all every single day. You follow this platform, you see me in here every single day talking to you, sharing what I know, because I want to make sure every single hour I spent studying for this PhD is going to benefit you and your family. I want you taking these ideas and applying them like crazy, and I want you out here on top of this game. It's not hard to win. You just got to be consistent and you got to plan ahead. If you make a plan ahead, then you will succeed. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's enough of my yapping for today. I appreciate you guys listening. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Again, this podcast is on Spotify, so feel free to look up Boyce Watkins on Spotify. And also, my wife actually created, she's a therapist, licensed therapist, and a full professor of social work. And she created an awesome financial anxiety workbook. A lot of you experience stress from money. That financial anxiety gets in the way of your ability to achieve your goals. Maybe it stops you from starting that business. Maybe it's kept you from investing. Maybe it affects your spending habits in a negative way. So, what we did in the Black Business School is we created the first ever Black financial therapy department. I have never in my life anywhere ever seen a financial therapy department focused specifically on Black wealth and what Black people go through and all the trauma we experience and how that affects our economic behavior. So, anyway, my wife created a workbook. Feel free to go to my website, boycewatkins.com. You can take a look at the workbook and get yourself a copy. And let me see. Somebody said this guy loves to talk. Well, yes, I absolutely love to talk. And then he said I think he called me a name, so he's an idiot. So let me get him up out of here. Just so you know, stupid people can't stay here. This is the place for intelligent Black people. So if you're not Black and intelligent, just be prepared to be put out of the classroom. So if you're stupid, you better be quiet and stupid, because if you are a dummy who's also loud and you like to expose your ignorance by talking in the chat, you will be promptly removed, because we're not here to impress you. I'm not here to convert you. I'm not here to connect with you. I'm here to connect with the people that already understand. I'm here to connect with the people that are already tired of the nonsense. I want to connect with the people that want to elevate, that want to build, that want to grow, that want to see our people do better. If you're not in that category, that's cool. Take your monkey ass over to the shade room where you could just go be ignorant and you will get lots of support. This is not the space for you. This is the space for leaders and champions and winners, not the people that are going to sit around, get their ass kicked by the world, and then complain about how the white man's got his foot on your neck. Well, he's got your foot on your neck partly because you ain't preparing. You ain't doing the work. You don't have the commitment. You don't have the vision. You don't have the courage. You don't want to be intelligent. So if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I'm not going to hate you, but I'm not going to be over here in the gutter pulling us down, pulling down. Look, our airplane's going to fly. You got to understand, y'all know I'm getting a pilot's license, so I use airplane analogies more often now, because whatever I'm doing, it tends to inspire me. So look, when we're flying this airplane is going to fly, and we're going to be flying at a high altitude. We're going to fly at 50,000 feet, 60,000 feet. And the thing about flying that airplane at a high altitude is you cannot be carrying a whole lot of dead weight. One of the biggest things you must do as a pilot when you take off in an airplane is there is a procedure you must go through called weight and balance. Weight and balance. And if you have too much weight on the airplane will not fly. So what I want to do is, I'm telling you, some of y'all going to have to let go of the dead weight. Some of y'all going to have to get the clowns out the classroom. You're going to have to move certain people out the way. And so when I'm in this chat and I see somebody say something crazy or weird, sometimes I ignore it, but then sometimes I'll get in there. I'll be like, no, you got to go. Not because I don't love you. I wish you the best, but whatever cursed you into believing that you have to be so weird and pathetic that you must disrupt something where our pure intention is to be as positive as possible, that tells me that something's wrong with you. You're mentally ill. You're sick. You've got a virus. You got the niggerosity virus, right? You've got the Negro naysayer virus. And when you got the virus, I love you, but you're infected, and I need to quarantine you and socially distance from you so that you don't infect others that are trying to do better. So shout out to everybody. And again, I'm not talking about people that have education. I'm not talking about people that have money. I'm talking about people that just want something better, where you are dedicated and committed to breaking generational curses and putting your kids in a better position than you. You are my ally. You are the people that I'm here for, and you're the ones that I'm teaching. Everybody else, people start acting crazy, I just push them out the chat. All right, so I got to go, guys. I hope you have a great day. God bless you. Don't forget, the All Black National Convention is going to happen October 20th in Atlanta, Georgia. Feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to learn more. It's going to be so much fun. I'm trying to get Killer Mike to come out there. He came out to the first convention. It's in Atlanta. So I'm hoping I can get him to come back again this year. I'm gonna keep asking him on the chat on text. And but then last year we had billionaire Mike Roberts. We had the CEO of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller, who's a great guy. We had scholars and thinkers like Professor James Small, Dr. Ma'at, just so many great people. And so I hope you'll join us out there, because I'm telling you, it is absolutely an amazing event. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to, get passes, become a vendor, sponsor, anything like that. All right. So have a good night, everybody. God bless you. I will see you all soon, and take care. Talk to you later. Peace.